If you want to write or run code with custom agents, then you need to enable the code interpreter setting within Microsoft Copilot Studio. Let's show you step by step how you can do that all within this video right now. So I actually want to take just a really quick second to explain some of the capabilities at a glance of this that's in the Microsoft documentation, and then I promise we'll get to what you need here. If you just want to skip past this, you can use the timestamps in the video. But nonetheless, I just want to highlight some of these. It allows Excel file processing, so create, copy, and update Excel worksheets in a workbook, Word and PowerPoint processing, PDF processing, data versus table processing, complex mathematical and statistical computations, whatever exactly that means, but as well as data analysis, manipulation, and visualizations. And this is basically being able to create charts and graphs, which I think is pretty sweet. As well as I wanted to just mention this, this allows the support for files as an output type in prompts, as well as support for Excel files as input and output types within prompts. And then finally, you can create prompts in two ways, and we're gonna show you this way as a part of this video on how to create a prompt tool within Microsoft Copilot Studio and enable that prompt for the code interpreter, or enable code interpreter on that prompt. Here we are, I'm in within Microsoft Copilot Studio, and you actually need to start outside of Copilot Studio in the Power Platform Admin Center. So if you don't have Power Platform Admin Center access, then you will need an administrator to do that, but I'm assuming since you're here that you have the ability to. And what you want to go ahead and do is you probably see a screen like this. You want to click on Copilot, you want to click on Settings, and then here within Copilot Studio, there's a code generation and execution in Copilot Studio. We need this setting here. This is going to show the different environments within this tenant, and you need to enable this for that environment. So I'm looking for my citizen developer environment here. I'm gonna go ahead and click add. Enables code generation and execution in Copilot Studio. This is the check mark that we need. Excuse me, I stand corrected. I was a little thrown off by the fact that this was grayed out down here, so we're all learning together here. This actually means that it is enabled and turned on just by selecting your environment and hitting add. When you see this screen, this means that it's on. If you, for whatever reason, wanted to now turn it off, then you want to come in here and click, uncheck it and then save that update. But it automatically enables it for you, which I didn't realize at first. So I guess, like I said, we're all learning together here. But now that is enabled, I'm good to go back to Copilot Studio now. So now within Copilot Studio, here I have my agent. It's now time to turn on the setting for the agent, all right, before we get to the prompt. And so if you go ahead and go to settings up here in the top right, and I might be, my head might be blocking it, but it should default to the generative AI settings here. It looks like I'm not, so that's okay. And then if you scroll down, you will see under file processing capabilities, code interpreter. Let's go ahead and turn this on and hit save. Took just about 10 seconds there. This is now enabled and turned on, but there's still kind of one final thing. It didn't just mean that over here in the test pane that it's now going to, be able to execute and write code. I now need to set up what's called a prompt or a certain type of tool. I'll have some other videos on this channel about prompts. We're not necessarily discussing them here. Not to be confused with prompting as like what you're sending in this chat window, but there's an actual tool called prompts. And so here I actually don't have any tool set up. You can either get to it from clicking here on the overview or just go to the tools tab up here, click add a tool. And so this is the screen you will see. Go ahead and click new tool and then click prompt. And so this here is where you can define some instructions or actions that you want your agent to be able to do on behalf of the person chatting with it. And one of these things is to generate or execute code. And so if you actually click on, it's kind of hidden, but if you click on these three dots right here, and click settings, then you will see this enable code interpreter. Go ahead and check that. And there's not necessarily a save on this button per se. But anyways, now if I, create my prompt and define it and set it up and test it and everything and save it, it will now have the code interpreter feature enabled. And at this point, you're able to use the code interpreter within your agents for Microsoft Copilot Studio. Now, at this point, the code interpreter is set up for your agent and ready to rock and roll. But I will say one of the coolest tools I've seen out there for your agents within Microsoft Copilot Studio is the Copilot Studio Kit. You're going to want to watch this video to see everything you need to know to set it up in your environment. As always, if you need more, have more questions, or want to get in direct contact with me, the first link down in the description is an easy way to do that. My name is Griffin Lickfeld. Thank you so much for sticking to end this video. I'm excited to connect with you in the next one.